Now, this evening, we will vote to either or move to take one out that's not necessary and perhaps reassign the numbers. So as we go through, I believe the first 9 are boilerplate warrant articles. So we'll start with number 10, which is the Council on Aging, and to amend the Dover Code for the number of COA board members. So I believe at number 10, that's fine.
Correct.
Now, if I may, down number 17, which is the Carroll Community Facilities upgrade in the amount of $550,000, I would like to move that up to number 11. Number 1, it has something to do, has a lot to do with the COA, and I'd like to keep those two combined. I don't know what your thoughts on those are, Robin. I'll give Carol the pass, and so Carol has given the 2 thumbs up. As I said, this is like broadcasting a ball game over the radio, so Carol gave us the 2 thumbs up. Robin, do you have any suggestions on that?
I agree. I think it makes a lot of sense to move both, to have both COA articles.
Yeah, like type articles. Yeah, good.
One after the other.
David, do we vote to change the order? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll make the motion that we move Article now 17, which is the Carroll Community Center Facilities Upgrade, to number 11.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Carol gave the thumbs up, which is fantastic. So we'll now push everything down, and I see no other changes until we have the old number 19, the new 20, which is the acceptance of donation of real property, which was a placeholder. And from what I was told this evening, that placeholder is being withdrawn. Is that correct, David?
My understanding is the Conservation Commission has expressed interest in accepting the gift. Under their statute, with the approval of selectmen, they can do that on their own without town meeting action being required.
Okay, so I will make the motion that we take off the warrant article, the acceptance of donation, the real property placeholder.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye. Once again, we have 2 ayes and a thumbs up. Thank you. What else, Robin? Did you see any?
So the only other thing is we do have the IGA in place with Sherborne, correct?
Good. That's a good point.
So should we remove?
You know, I had a thought on that, and you bring an excellent point, because at some point, hopefully it's not necessary, but let's wait until all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed to make that decision, whether it's the next meeting.
All right.
But I haven't seen everything. I certainly don't have all the documents.
Okay.
But it's a good point, that if it's not necessary, get it off.
Right.
Other than that, I don't see any other changes that I would suggest. Robin?
I agree.
Okay. Carol, thumbs up, thumbs down. Carol gave a thumbs up, so we can move to the next agenda item. Thank you for that. Our next agenda item was a request from David and Mary Powers, who's an abutter to the town-owned property at 46 Springdale Avenue. And their lawyer has sent a letter to the board requesting that they purchase a small piece that abuts their land, and where we don't have the visual, I couldn't even begin to describe it, but for some reason the line between our property, which is the old Snyder property, and the Powers property sort of cuts into it, a very small piece, and the Powers have shown an interest in purchasing that. Now, my initial thought on this is, since we have a study committee on that the Snyder land that has just started, why don't we take this under advisement right now, and see how they start to evolve in this issue and address it a little farther down the line.
I would agree with that. I'm certainly open to this purchase, but
Yep. But it would be an open bid process.
Right.
And I don't know if,
And until we know what the final use is, it seems a little premature.
yes, yes. So why don't we table that for now?
Okay.
And Dave, the logistics of it, do you get back to the Powers or their representative, Attorney Conley?
Certainly I can do that.
Okay. Carol, you okay with that? Because obviously as chair. Okay, good. So we'll table that. We'll get back to the Powers and their attorney, explaining why we're tabling it, and get back to it in the future. Great. Okay. The next agenda item is to approve the Selectmen's 2014 Town Report. And I read it, and I thought it was one of the most comprehensive ones I've seen in a long time. Dave, I know you did a lot of work with it. Mona, you probably have. Greer has. I know we have all our fingers into this, but I thought it was beautifully written. And a lot of detail. Just shows how much work that the office of the board has done over in the calendar for 2014.
That's what I think is most impressive, all the things that were handled this
Yeah.
past year.
Absolutely, and stated eloquently also.
Right.
Those are Carol's words. She just. So, that being said, I'll make the motion to approve the Selectmen's 2014 Town Report.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
2 ayes and 1 thumbs up once again. Thank you. Okay. We have appointments on the agenda this evening. I do have one. Is there any others?
I do not.
Okay, then I'll get right to mine. I have an appointment for the Council on Aging, which is Joanne Conley of 4 Cranberry Lane. I thank you, Joanne. I know I've been talking about filling that board for some time now. They have a large board, I think it was by Dover Code, 12 members, and they've had trouble over the last few years that I've been associated with them as a liaison, filling that role. And as you know, there's a special warrant article this year to reduce the number of board members. But in the meantime, Joanne Conley, now Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, is it a full-time, she's going to replace the existing? Yes, thank you. Good. Again, thank you, Joanne. So I'll make the motion that we appoint Joanne Conley of 4 Cranberry Lane to the Council on Aging.
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
And Joanne is the liaison now to the
Yes,
selectmen now.
that's correct. And the first meeting I was there, she was there, so it's great to see involvement on all the boards.
Right.
So Joanne will send you, if you're listening, we'll send you a letter of appointment, then you get sworn in by the town's clerk. Very good. Okay. Our next agenda item is review ambulance rates and accounts receivable write-offs. As we do, I believe, every year, we review the rates, and I don't know if probably the write-offs every year also. So, Jerry Lane, the treasurer-collector of the town, has written a memorandum that the town's past practice has been set the rate, an ambulance rate, to at least 110% of the Medicare rate. The current rates are at or above that level. He recommends that the board leaves the rate at the current levels for 2015. Is there any discussions to Mr. Lane's memorandum? Okay. And everyone thinks that's a fair rate? Good. So I'll make the motion that we keep the level of ambulance rate at the current level for 2015.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Three yeses. Good. In addition to that, from Mr. Lane, he has in a list of accounts receivable write-offs. And as I read his memorandum, it's been the practice to abate ambulance bills as uncollectible if there's been no activity on the account for 2.5 years. Based on this standard, Mr. Lane is requesting that the Board of Selectmen abate 22 bills in the amount of $12,568.62. Okay. And the Comstar ambulance billing is the collection agency.
That's right, Mr.
And they've had no success for these particular 22 bills over the last, which date back to 2009.
Right, so they're in excess of 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's a good point, Robin.
We had Comstar come in, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago and talk about their collection policy.
Yeah,
And they are incredibly successful.
yeah.
Very, very low adjustment rate, uncollectible rate.
But I thought we did this every year, though.
We do it every year,
So-
but we ask Comstar to come in to actually...
No, I remember that, but Robin makes a good point where some of these are older than 2.5 years.
If there's been activity...
Okay, thank you.
alive.
Key difference.
There's no activity for 2.5 years.
All right, so then the date is a little bit misleading.
As we're on the talk of accounts receivable collection, are there any other receivables out there? Obviously, the assessor and tax collector is one thing. Police details, things of that nature?
There are accounts receivable police details which we're constantly chasing. That's part of the job of the police department to do.
Okay,
That's the only one.
so we don't see an issue there where we have to write off any or no?
Occasionally you will.
Okay, I just don't remember.
Those have come to us, right?
Good, thank you for that. Okay, I'll make the motion based on Mr. Lane's recommendation that we abate 22 ambulance bills in the amount of $12,568.62.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, very good. 3 ayes. Okay, approved. Our next agenda item is to review a revised administrative assistant job description. Dev, are you speaking to this? Please.
Or Mona may. You'll defer to me?
I'll defer to you.
So this was presented to the board at their last meeting, and the question was raised about the recommended minimum education qualification. And so in conversations with our consultant, Mrs. Pugash has amended this to add the associate's degree preferred qualification to the education requirement. That's consistent with our other similar positions here in town.
Okay. Can you speak of, so we're putting the job description out there. Has it been out there already, or none of this process has started because we're waiting for this?
The recruitment process has started based on a job posting. The job description, once the board votes, it has to go to the personnel board to be approved and then rated for classification. We took a guess at the salary range in the interest of time because the previous incumbent retired last Thursday. So we've expedited the process, but we have to catch up with the formal process.
So the requirements, the educational requirements, doesn't affect the posting already out there? Okay. Good. Thank you for that explanation. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve this revised administrative assistant to the police chief job description.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, as we move right along, in other business, we have a prior notice from the water department. Dave, do you want to take this up also?
Certainly, Mr. Dawley. As you recall, there was another leak on Center Street, roughly in the same location as a year ago's water leak, which was repaired, which cost, in addition to the water charges for the lost water, the repairs totaled $8,500.
In addition to, So how would that be broken down? Just, I'm a numbers guy, Dave, so much water, so much repair. You know
Yeah,
the-
so much repair, so much water.
So you don't know the breakdown? Okay.
And so this notice is looking for an additional 8,500 to replace?
Putting you on notice that we may be looking
Okay.
down the road.
Right.
It's an unusual expense, so we just wanted to make you aware of it.
So it's
So the
repair.
balance available in this account of $1,768.49, that's for both, that would include water charges
Yeah.
for another
Okay.
5 months, I guess, right?
Well, this would be the unaccounted for water.
Oh, okay,
So if we don't have any more leaks,
okay,
hopefully there won't be any more charges.
okay, all right, so this account is solely for that, all right.
And now, I forget, I haven't been chair in a while. Do we approve these or just sign off?
I think you vote to approve
Okay.
them.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the prior notice for the water department, for the amount of $8,500.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. 3 ayes. Thank you. Oh, Carol gets to sign this, yeah.
You only get to make the motion.
Thank you, Carol.
Hand still works.
When the thumbs aren't up.
Okay. Next agenda item is the, unfortunately, this time of year, and we've actually been fortunate over the last 1 or 2 years, over the past 5.
We were fortunate this year
Yeah, up until recently.
until 2 weeks ago.
Yep, we have a snow and ice budget authorization request.
What a surprise.
Yeah. My only question is, when is this good through? Do we have, what's this estimate based on? What storm?
The most recent storm. It
So,
just
okay.
finished up. So Craig is projecting a $36,000 balance in the existing budget. And that's what's prompting the $75,000 request.
Okay. And it's an unfortunate thing, but we have no control over this. And I might add, Craig does and his crew, and his vendors
Get
do a
your bang for the
tremendous
buck in this
job
town.
on these roadways. So, that being said, I guess I'll make the motion to add $75,000 to the snow and ice budget.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Carol, thank you. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll be the last time Mr. Hughes is gonna make a request.
No, I think we're supposed to get another
Another
storm
storm,
on
right?
Monday.
Tomorrow? Yeah.
Like tomorrow's little, but Monday could be a big one.
But again, we've, really, I think it was 2 years ago or last year where snow and ice turned back money?
First time in my
First time in a
career.
while, yeah.
I will tell you, I work north of Boston, and I got off 128 on Wednesday, and the roads were snow-covered
Oh,
in the
really?
town I work in.
Yeah.
Right, and people were just sliding off the road, and you really appreciate what our highway department does.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Craig, for that, by the way. On to, as we slide through this agenda.
Stick to your day job.
We'll approve the board meeting minutes of January 21st, 2015. I was not present at that meeting, so I don't, technically, I don't vote on this, do I? Right, thank you, I didn't think so.
So do you want me,
Yeah, Robin, please, take it.
so perhaps just for the listening audience, we should talk about what transpired at the meeting on the 21st. So the Board of Cemetery Commissioners were in, and we voted to fill a temporary vacancy on that committee. We approved the operating budget for the police department. We reviewed the 2015 annual town meeting articles, just like we did this evening. Carol executed the intergovernmental agreement between Dover and Sherborne. I gave an update on Minuteman Technical School District. Actually, on Friday, there's a meeting, so I will most likely have another update at our next meeting. And then we also gave an update on the SSC, the Springdale Study Committee. We briefly covered the real estate tax abatement request for 46 Springdale, which was just a technicality. Since it belongs to us now, we aren't going to pay property taxes on it until we decide what to do with it. And we deferred voting on the town report in our absence. And we also appointed the assistant accountant.
As a technical matter, as clerk, as the official clerk of the board, do I sign this still, or okay, thanks.
So I would approve, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any changes?
I have none.
Okay, so I'd like a motion to accept the minutes of the January 21st, 2015 meeting as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Thank you, Robin. Okay, and on to the next agenda item. It's citizens' comments, and I have one, but before I say anything, Robin, do you have anything?
I do not.
Carol, do you want to give a thumbs up or down? Yeah, let me see.
Have the capital budget, police car.
Ah, thank you. Okay, yes, thank you.
And we have,
Let me go back into other business, and what we'd like to discuss. Yes?
I do have citizens' comments.
Okay, can I take care of this business first, and then I'll come back to you? Thank you. And what we want to revisit is the police department's request for vehicles in the upcoming town meeting. And originally, the chief had come in and asked for 1 patrol car and 2 administrative cars. And at the time, the board, while we thought we approved the overall request, we asked him to break the request down into a police vehicle, a patrol vehicle versus administrative. In hindsight, I don't believe, I think it's in the best interest of the police to do that way, so I'd like us to revisit that and perhaps rethink and put the 3 vehicles into 1 request. That's what I'm asking this evening.
Which is, I believe, the way that we've done it.
Yes, thank you. Historically, Dave, I know you've done some research for us, and historically, the police have always had 1 request for vehicles, given whether it was administrative vehicle or a patrol car. So we want to be consistent with past practices, and perhaps we took the wrong step a month or 2 ago, and we'd like to correct that step and get back into an historical perspective on how things are voted on. Robin?
I don't have an issue with that.
Okay. Carol?
It's fine.
Great. So I'll make the motion that I guess we request the chief to go back, make a new capital request based on 1 request with 3 vehicles in it.
Yes.
Great. So I made that motion. Robin, would you second that? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Carol. Any other thoughts before we have a citizen's comment? Well, let me get to my citizen's comment first. And as you know, we have the Carroll Community Center Facilities Upgrade Plan. And the first portion of that plan is to upgrade the 4 restrooms over there, 4 of the restrooms over there. They're of original equipment and original design and not totally handicap accessible. There are all kinds of issues that we've identified. And we have them on a special town warrant. We spoke of that earlier. It will be number, I think it was 11 or 12, in the amount of $550,000. The Carroll Community Center, CMAC.
Carroll Management.
Management, yes. Advisory Committee, thank you. You're a good voice, Carol, thank you. They are spearheading this program as they advise the Board of Selectmen on all matters over there. And one of the things decided at their meeting this morning is they will have an open house for all of the Carroll Community Center, but specifically so voting citizenship can go in and see the shape of portions of that building that will be tried to upgrade over the next 1 to 5 years. Specifically for this year, though, is the restrooms on the first and second floor. So that open house is slated for March 7th at 11 a.m. And I urge everyone to either get there that day, or if you have an opinion on whether these things should be fixed or not, at least visit the building. I remember Robin and the police chief did a heck of a job last year, did open houses, and they were not well attended. And a lot of the questions, right, and a lot of the questions came about where if you had attended those meetings, you would have known the answers. So I highly recommend that people get over to the building, look at the building. The building, we're committed, the Board of Selectmen are committed to keeping that building. It's a vital asset for the community and the town government. And we're going to make every effort to invest to get that building up to code. We have COA over there, we have Park and Rec over there, we have 3 reoccurring tenancies, the DMA uses it, on and on and on. We are committed to bringing that building up to speed. So we will bring that warrant article to town meeting this coming May, and I hope that you, everyone has an opinion on that, goes over there and looks at it. So that being said, March 7th, 11 a.m. On the Springdale Avenue doors.
And this is, they will do more than this one, I would hope? Or is this the only open
The
house?
plan right now is this one, and we'll see how well attended that is because it's right before the open hearing.
Okay.
So we'll see what the response is. And
What day
certainly
of
at
the
any
week?
time.
What day of the week is
That's a
March?
Saturday morning, 11
okay,
a.m.
all right.
And certainly any time, because it is a public building, it's open.
Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Now, we have a young lady in the audience who would like to make a citizen's comment. Would you please identify yourself with your name and address?
Yes, Elizabeth Rich, 6B Haskell Road. I'm a member of the Cultural Council. I'm here as a resident of the neighborhood, and I'm actually petitioning on behalf of the entire neighborhood for an additional warrant article. And I do understand it's beyond the deadline, that these are extenuating circumstances. I did come on the 21st at 7:05, but you guys were very speedy that night apparently, and had wrapped up your meeting. So if I could just distribute what I've written, and we could just take a look at it. There's only one copy of this document, which is the official assessments that were paid by all of the residents of the street in order to connect to Dover Water Company. Just one for everyone.
Okay. Oh, right, okay, thank you.
That's I know where instead of where. But when the town did successfully sue and receive $1 million settlement from Exxon Mobil, I was at town meeting where an article was presented to award that amount in full to fund the employee pensions, town employee pensions with the monies instead of in any way directly reimbursing those who were directly economically impacted by the spill. We were not informed as a neighborhood that there had been a successful settlement or that there would be this bill to, warrant article to dispose of the settlement. And I was at town meeting because I do attend every year, and I heard the article presented, and I just didn't feel prepared at the time to speak to it because I did not have all the facts, but I do now. And the amount paid by the residents of Meeting House plus Church Street was $66,000, a little over $66,000 in real cost to connect to Dover Water because our local wells, aquifer on Springdale, was contaminated permanently as a result of the spill. We had no choice in this, and the amounts were amortized over 20 years by like 99% of the people, and these are passed down to future residents, of which I'm one. What I'm proposing is that those who paid in are reimbursed what they paid in. Many people are still in town, the Nannies, the Oaks, so on. So the people would be, it's not that it would be bonanza for the current residents, it would be, everyone would be sought out and reimbursed what they paid in. I think this is minimal because prior we had a local wells and we had long-term higher water bills with Dover Water Company. Just an example, it's now been sold to Colonial, but I used zero water for several months last year, and I still billed over $50 a month, just for the privilege of being a customer of the company. These are real costs, and there's no way we could ever estimate what we paid in higher water bills as opposed to just having local uncontaminated wells. But these are very documentable amount, and it's certainly not going to directly, severely, adversely impact the amount still available for pensions for town employees. But I think in the interest of fairness, this is a fair disposition of a tiny portion of the amount to those who have contaminated local groundwater. This does not even address a petition to remediate that spill, which presumably $1 million settlement would be directed towards, I would think, in part. I've taken hydrogeology courses, and I have 2 degrees in geology and environmental sciences, and at the college, at both the college and Brown. And I do have concerns about my living above contaminated water. I'm not pursuing that at this point, but, and I understand the deadline's passed, but this is something that honestly, in all fairness, maybe we should have thought of in the first place when the money was awarded to the town. Okay, that is my statement, and it does cover a lot of town employees, so they will benefit either way, and they are in favor.
Okay, thank you.
Residents are town employees, so.
Thank you for that. Now, I don't know the technicalities of opening the warrant up, and I'll rely on Mr. Ramsey to tell us that, or town council if Mr. Ramsey's not sure, but I'm sure he is. That being said,
When I was a previous board member, Wellesley and I typed up warrant articles for her, so I tried to make it a little bit professional.
No, it's opening the...
I understand, there is a deadline.
And that has passed, as you know.
Yes.
So, Dave, do you know off the top of your head definitively whether it could be opened up again?
I think it cannot on the strength of a citizen petition,
Okay.
but I can confirm that.
Okay, thank you. So, that's number one. Number two, I do recall the town meeting where this was voted to use to jumpstart the OPEB, I think it was, right? And you made a statement, and I don't know if you meant to say that no one knew it was going to town meeting, but the blue book comes out prior to every town meeting, to every single voting townsperson or household, so everyone's aware of what they should be voting on at town meeting. So that's my first question, whether you misspoke.
That is very different from the residents being informed that there was a settlement that...
Well, again, that would be all, it's all part of the blue book.
That they bore economic impact from. And I do understand we passed the deadline, but I do think that this was an omission, that we weren't reimbursed in the first place, so maybe there could be an exception. Maybe we've already waited several years to get our ducks in a row on this petition.
Okay. No, I can appreciate, I'm just wondering if you misspoke saying that no one knew about it.
No, I'm saying town meeting wasn't made aware as a whole that people in the town had more direct economic impact. There was nothing said about that at town meeting to inform the town meeting as a whole. What they were voting on indeed wasn't just a settlement where no one had paid costs as a result of the spill.
It's
I'm
hard
somewhat
to,
confused.
it's hard to recall, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to look back.
You know, I feel unprepared to make any comments on this.
Yes.
You know, I certainly have, I remember I was on the warrant committee at the time, I believe, and there was a lot of discussion about the settlement and what to do with the funds. So certainly, individually or personally, I would need to go back and look through the blue books, because I think there was extensive information provided in the blue book at the time.
Yeah.
I would also, my memory is that it came in a couple pieces.
Right.
2 pieces.
Two pieces at least. And that at the time, it was discussed at length with smiles on her face at the selectmen's meeting, and was probably mentioned in our local newspaper as well, so.
Right, right.
You know, it gets into the issue that we have with everything in Dover, which is how to keep people informed.
No, and Robin and Carol make great points. A couple of generic questions I would have, and again, we'll take this under advisement and find a technicality, open the warrant, and then go back and look at history. But this was money paid to the Dover Water Company? That's what the memorandum says.
It was billed by, someone there has the official document.
Well, we don't have a water supply company, so we wouldn't be involved in that.
I don't know what it's called there. What is it called there?
Colonial Water.
Well, it would have been a Dover Water Company at the time.
Excuse me, I think the chair, Carol, has it in front of her.
Okay, thank you.
It was an assessment for the cost of extending the pipe was borne by about 17 families.
Okay, I
And
haven't
that's
seen
my
that.
point,
Okay.
that we paid the cost to extend the pipe to the neighborhood after our wells were contaminated by the spill.
Okay.
So it was these were the three selectmen at the time, Ford Spalding, Jackie Fiedler, and Larry Vidal. And this was a letter signed by the selectmen as Board of Commissioners
Yes,
to the Board of Assessors.
okay.
On June 2nd, 1989.
So that was a special assessment on the real estate tax bill, is that what I'm to take from that?
Right.
That sounds like it. We'll have to look into it.
Okay, we'll have to look through all the facts, but
Sure, I
just,
understand it's a great deal. I do apologize for not having it here, obviously, months ago, or a year ago even. But I would just like to have taken into consideration, and so it could be dealt with at some point.
well, we're certainly gonna have to do our homework, because even if there's a technicality where you couldn't get it on town meeting 2016 because of law,
15.
Thank you,
I do that.
fiscal 16,
Fiscal year 16.
that I don't imagine it would go away, so we'll have to do our homework and figure out what the heck's going on for one of these town meetings coming up then. Okay,
Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you're quite welcome, thank you. With that, I don't have any other further citizens' comments,
Me neither.
so I'll make a motion that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night now, thank you for listening.